You know that exact feeling when your perfectly fine, absolutely adequate smartphone suddenly feels like a brick in your hand? It happens overnight, literally. You go to sleep, an automatic software update installs, and the next morning, opening your email takes an extra second and a half. The camera app stutters. The battery, which used to easily survive a full day of scrolling, is now begging for a charger by 2 p.m. Funny how that works, right? Most people think this is just the natural life cycle of electronics. You buy a device, the hardware gets tired, the battery physically degrades, and eventually it just gives up the ghost. It is just science. But the math and the actual code running behind the screen prove it is actually something much darker. It is not just your battery dying, it is a carefully engineered psychological trap. Because tech companies don't just want you to upgrade, they need you to upgrade. And to make sure you do, they manufacture your frustration. I'm Heisenbank, and here at Breaking Finance, we don't buy the marketing lies. We look at the numbers. We look at the absolute absurdity of our spending habits. Today, we are ripping the lid off the smartphone upgrade cycle. We're looking at exactly why new tech makes your old devices obsolete, the brutal reality of what this upgrade illusion is actually costing your future net worth, and the mental tricks getting you to swipe your credit card for a device that is essentially the same as the one already in your pocket. If you understand what we're talking about today, you stop being a walking ATM for Silicon Valley. You get your financial agency back. The software squeeze. Let's start with the most obvious weapon they use against you: software bloat. We've all lived through it. You buy a phone in, say, 2024. It flies. It's incredibly fast. The operating system was built specifically for that exact processor and that exact amount of RAM. It's a perfect marriage of hardware and software. Fast forward to 2026, the new model comes out, and magically an entirely new operating system update is pushed to your older phone. The company tells you it is for security and new features. And sure, maybe they added some new emojis and a slightly different clock font, but what they actually just did was force your older hardware to carry a much heavier load. Imagine you are a marathon runner. You're in peak condition. You can run 26 miles without breaking a sweat. Then someone comes along and says, "Hey, for your own safety, I need you to wear this 20-pound weighted vest." You can still run, but you are slower, you are sweating more, you are exhausted much faster. That is what a new operating system does to a 2-year-old chip. They write the new software to take advantage of the brand new cutting-edge processors in the new phones. They do not optimize it for yours. So your phone has to work twice as hard to do the exact same basic tasks it did perfectly a year ago. It heats up. That heat degrades the battery faster. The battery drains faster. And suddenly your brain goes, "Man, my phone is dying. I guess I need a new one." You didn't need a new phone. You were pushed into a software squeeze. They choked your device out. Now let's talk about the money, because this is where the real damage happens. A lot of people brush off a new phone purchase. They finance it through their carrier. It's just, an extra $30 or $40 a month tacked onto the phone bill. You don't even feel it. They hide a $1,200 purchase inside a monthly drip, so your brain doesn't process the massive hit your wallet just took. Let's do the brutal math on this. Let's prove your feelings with actual numbers. Imagine you were caught in the standard upgrade cycle. You buy a new flagship phone every 2 years. Average cost right now, factoring in taxes and maybe a case, is easily $1,200. If you start this habit at age 18 and keep it up until you are 78, that is 60 years of buying phones. That is 30 phones over your lifetime. $1,200 times 30 phones. That is $36,000 just handed over, puffed into thin air for a slightly better camera and a screen that gets a tiny bit brighter. But that is not the real cost. We are Breaking Finance. We look at opportunity cost. What if you just held onto your phone for 4 years instead of 2? You cut your phone purchases in half. You buy 15 phones over your life instead of 30. You save $1,200 every 4 years. That averages out to saving $300 a year, or $25 a month. What happens if you take that $300 a year, the money you didn't burn on an upgrade,
and you toss it into a standard S&P 500 index fund, returning a historical average of 8% a year. Over those same 60 years, that tiny little $300 a year, compounded at 8%, turns into roughly $375,000. Let that sink in. Over $350,000. Gone. Evaporated because you couldn't stand the fact that your text messages took a millisecond longer to load, or because you wanted the titanium edges instead of the aluminum edges. You traded $375,000 of future wealth for titanium edges that you instantly covered up with a $15 plastic case from Amazon. It sounds insane when you say it out loud, doesn't it? But millions of people do this every single day. Hey, quick pause. If this kind of brutal honesty is waking you up, if seeing the actual math behind your daily choices is hitting home right now, hit that subscribe button. It helps us keep making these videos, and honestly, staying subscribed to this channel is going to save you a lot more money than whatever tech blog is telling you to buy the new iPhone 17. The psychology of relevance. So why do we do it? If the math is so obviously terrible, why do incredibly smart people line up outside stores or refresh their browsers at midnight to drop $1,200 on a rectangle of glass? It is not about the specs. Stop kidding yourself. Nobody actually cares about a 15% faster neural engine. You don't even know what a neural engine does. I barely know what it does. We buy it for the dopamine. And we buy it for status. Humans are hardwired to care about their standing in the tribe. Thousands of years ago, if you fell to the bottom of the social hierarchy, you starved. Today, you don't starve, but your brain still fires off the same panic signals when it feels like you are being left behind. Tech companies weaponize this. They use a concept called planned psychological obsolescence. They don't just make your old phone slower, they change the physical design of the new phone just enough so that everyone else can see you don't have it. They move the camera bump. They change the exclusive colors. Why? Because when you pull out a phone with last year's camera bump at a dinner party, a tiny subconscious part of your brain feels a flicker of shame. You feel outdated. You feel irrelevant. And buying the new phone instantly cures that feeling. You walk out of the store with a new shiny box. Your brain floods with dopamine. You feel successful. You feel current. But the dopamine wears off in about 2 weeks. The novelty fades. It just becomes your phone again. And you are left holding a depreciating liability while the tech company is holding your cash. They sell you a temporary cure for an insecurity that they manufactured in the first place. And it gets worse, because the phone is never just the phone. Have you ever noticed how upgrading one thing suddenly makes everything else you owned look like garbage? This is a well-documented psychological phenomenon called the Diderot effect, named after a French philosopher who bought a beautiful, expensive new scarlet robe. Once he put the robe on, he realized his desk looked old and beaten up, so he bought a new desk. Then his rug looked terrible next to the new desk, so he bought a new rug. Soon, he was completely broke, just trying to make his whole life match the standard of this one stupid robe. Tech ecosystems are the modern Diderot effect. You buy the new phone, but wait, it doesn't have a headphone jack, or the Bluetooth protocol is slightly different, so you need the new wireless earbuds. Oh, and the charging port changed from Lightning to USB-C, so all your cables are useless. Gotta buy new chargers for your car, your bedroom, your office. And hey, your 2-year-old smartwatch looks a little chunky next to this sleek new phone, right? Better upgrade that too. It is a cascading waterfall of expenses. You didn't just spend $1,200. You spent $1,800 upgrading the entire orbit of accessories around the device. They build these walled gardens, these perfectly integrated ecosystems to trap your money. They make it incredibly painful to leave and incredibly expensive to stay. You are paying rent to live in their digital neighborhood. Now, you might be thinking, well, I'll just fix my old phone. I'll just replace the battery and keep it running. Oh, you sweet summer child. This brings us to the outright hostility of the tech industry toward the right to repair. If a car's battery dies, you don't throw the car away. You open the hood, you take out the $150 battery, you drop a new one in, and you drive for another 5 years. Smartphones used to be like this. You could literally pop the plastic back off, slide a new battery in, and boot it up. Not anymore. Now the batteries are glued into the chassis with industrial adhesive. The screens are tethered to the motherboard with software locks, meaning even if you buy a perfectly genuine, original replacement screen and install it yourself, the phone will artificially disable features like Face ID or True Tone simply because an unauthorized human dared to fix their own property. They call this part pairing. It is a blatant tactic to monopolize the repair industry. When your battery drops to 78% health and your phone is crawling, you take it to the official store, the genius behind the counter runs a diagnostic, they look at you with deep pity and say, "Yeah, we could replace the battery for $129, but honestly, the back glass has a micro scratch on it, so we'd have to replace the whole unit. It's going to be $500. You're honestly better off just trading it in for the new model. I can get you set up today." It is a script. They make repairs so economically unviable and frustrating that buying a new device feels like the only rational choice. They generate millions of tons of e-waste, toxic metals, and rare earth minerals dumped into landfills just to maintain their profit margins. They literally design the hardware to die and then legally and physically block you from resurrecting it. So, where does this leave us? How do you actually beat the system that is engineered by billionaires and psychologists to separate you from your money? You step off the treadmill. You refuse to play the game on their terms. First, you stop associating your self-worth with your electronics. A phone is a tool. It is a piece of glass and metal that sends text messages and plays YouTube videos. It is a digital hammer. Nobody cares if you have the newest hammer. Second, you change your baseline for what is acceptable performance. Yes, the old phone might take 1 extra second to load Google Maps. So what? Take a deep breath, look out a window. That 1 second of waiting is not worth throwing away $375,000 of future wealth. Third, find an independent repair shop that actually knows how to do micro-soldering and bypass software locks. Support the right to repair movement. Get your battery replaced by a third party for $60. Let the phone company send you scary warning messages about unverified parts. Ignore them. Your phone will run perfectly fine. When you realize that the tech industry is relying on your impatience and your insecurity to fund their stock price, the illusion shatters. You look at that shiny new advertisement for the latest device, and you don't see innovation. You see a trap. You start viewing your current phone not as an obsolete piece of junk, but as a cash-generating asset. Every single month you refuse to upgrade, you are paying yourself instead of paying a megacorporation. You are taking back your leverage. Because true wealth isn't holding a $1,200 depreciating asset in your hand to impress strangers. True wealth is having the financial freedom to not care what strangers think at all. We buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't like. Fight the urge. Keep your old phone. Keep your money. I am Eisenbank. See you on the next one.